Hey YouTube, Gerber here. So today I want to talk to you about some adjustments I'm making to my hiking gear, the knives that I'm carrying, how I'm switching things around a little bit, and how you don't have to spend a ton of money to get a decent knife to take with you for hiking. There's a couple options that you have when you're looking for a knife for hiking. You can go with a pocket knife, something like this Gerber here, or you can go with a fixed blade like this Camillus HT7 or a Mora. My thoughts on this when I first got into hiking here and doing these videos and getting into bushcraft was I want a bushcraft knife. So I went out there and I didn't want to spend a ton of money, but I was willing to spend some money. I settled on the Mora. It's a nice knife. Blades, I think 4.3 inches. It's a solid built knife, full tang molded handle on it. Just a beauty of a bushcraft knife. You have a baton with it where you're taking a log or a board and hitting it through another piece of wood to make kindling. You can make feather sticks with it. You can make feather wood where it'll shave. Just a superior knife, a really nice knife, but a little bit big on my belt. The sheath that comes with it, the one that I have in my hand, there's an adapter for it that clips onto your belt, which is how I was carrying it. So then you don't have this top strap on there, and even though it's secure, it settles in securely. Let me show you. This is gone when you have the belt strap on there, so the knife rides like this. So even though I can turn it upside down, it doesn't fall out. It's got like a press fit. There's just something about not having it clipped in that I wanted to have it clipped in, which then I have to go to the Molly setup. And I didn't want to have this hanging off my bag. I'm real big on not calling attention to things that could just not calling attention to what knives I have, really. It's just like with a gun. I'm not a big person for running around and carrying a gun out in the open. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me to advertise what I have, if you follow my drift. So I'd rather have something concealed in my bag. So don't want to get off subject here and start talking about guns. The Mora is a great knife, but I thought I'd try something a little smaller. And I found that this Camillus HT7, which I had picked up for just going on my hikes to have something with me when I was walking the tracks, I really like this knife. It's not the highest quality blade. The handle's a micarta handle. It is a full tang construction. It's a basic nylon sheath with it. It's got a great feel to it. And the jimping on the back, I can really get my thumb on that, and I've got a lot of control with this. If I want to shave a stick to make some feather wood to start a fire. One of the problems I had with this knife is it wasn't good as a striker for my ferrocerium rod for starting fires. And I figured out what I would do was grind the back flat, similar to how the Mora is, where you got a 90-degree spine, a flat spine on it, and that would make it a good striker. So I took my whetstone and I basically just worked it for a while. The spine now is got a nice 90-degree cut on it, and this is a great striker. I'll do a demonstration here in a minute. This thing will throw sparks all day long, and it's half the size of the Mora pretty much. I'll show you. Blade-wise, where the blade starts on this is about right there. You can see the difference here, how much more blade you're carrying with the Mora. Now, again, for batoning, you want a longer blade. But now that I've got this stove, this wood stove that I'm carrying, this lightweight wood-burning camp stove, I'm finding I'm not really building fires. So I'm not going into the woods and building these big fires or building a small campfire and then having to go collect that wood and split it and build up from that. I just build a little fire with twigs inside this camp stove, and that's typically enough for what I want to do, which is maybe make some coffee or make lunch or dinner. This is more than sufficient for any of those needs. Plus, it's a little bit smaller. It fits right on my belt nice, and the way it carries, when I've got my hoodie on and I've got my backpack on, I can quickly get to it. The backpack does not interfere at all with me getting to it, but I can pull the hoodie over it and you don't even really know I have the knife there. I'm really growing fond of this knife. I wish the steel was a little better on it, but for a $22 knife, I'll take it. Now, for those of you that are wondering, like, how does this compare against the Mora? I've got a Mora Companion I just ordered, and that's coming in. Again, I think that's going to be a 4-inch blade, but I wanted to get another knife that was in the $20 range by a company like Mora so I could compare the two. So that'll be another video, but I do have one coming and we'll test it out. When you're doing hiking, everything starts to come down to weight, size and weight, I guess. You know, you don't. It can be light, but if it's really big and bulky, it's going to tie up a lot of room in your pack. Well, you don't want that either. But weight is the big issue. And I've been watching videos and trying to learn about what's the best kit to have for hiking and for an everyday carrier, an EDC bag. There's a wide range of what people are saying. Carry a hatchet, carry, you know, a saw. And I got them. Right now, to be honest with you, they're not in my pack. I've already pulled these out of the pack. The reason why was because when I switched to, again, the concept of campfires versus having twig fires, which it produces a ton of heat. If you need to warm yourself, the stove works and it'll warm you. I didn't need this stuff. So this is unnecessary weight and bulk that's in my bag. So I've pulled it out of the bag now for my day hikes. If I was going to do shelter building, which I want to get into doing that, those might come in handy. So it may come back into the bag depending on what I'm doing for that day or what I foresee my hike involving. But for just a typical hike where I'm getting out to do some exploring and I just want to have my basic needs met if I run in the weather, or like I said, if I want to have a cup of coffee or get something to eat, I don't need those in the bag, and I'm starting to pare the bag down. As far as these knives go for hiking, of all the knives here, the Camillus is the one that I'm starting to carry all the time. The Mora, I have nothing bad to say about the Mora, but I'm starting to realize that I can get by without something like this. So you don't need to spend a ton of money on a knife to be happy with it and to make it work for your needs. This Coast was here just because I wanted to show, like, things can get ridiculously big on the side of your hip. You walk around carrying that, it's going to show, and it just shows, hey, look at this big knife I've got. In reality, I wouldn't want to use this knife. I've got it sharpened up. It's got a nice sharp blade on it. But it's terrible as a striker. I'd have to grind the back to get a sharp edge on that, even though it's got a flat back and a thick blade. This is, to me, bottom of the line steel. I picked this knife up because it was regularly $20 and they had them on sale for like $6. So I grabbed one because I figured at the very least I could use the sheath. And it was something to give me something I wanted to see how well it would perform for a $6 knife. Now, another option for knives is your pocket knife. And this one here is a Gerber, which is, I know they say Gerbers are for babies, but this is not a bad little knife. But it's not what I carry. This was given to me as a gift. I use it from time to time, but it's not something I would carry. The reason why is I just don't like all that heft in my pocket. If you carry this, like the weight on this knife is comparable to the weight on this knife. I have the scale sitting out here because I wanted to actually weigh them. The Camillus weighs in at 6.6 ounces with a sheath. The Gerber weighs in at 6.7 ounces without a sheath. So pretty much the same weight, but it's just more bulky in the pocket, and then if you need it, you got to dig in your pocket to get to it. It's not sitting there right on your hip with easy access. I'm just a bigger fan of the full tang knives and something that's a mid-range or mid-sized knife. The long knives serve a purpose, but again, for what I'm doing and for what I'm getting into, having something like this I think is really the sweet spot for me. Alright, so I wanted to do a quick demonstration of some of the fire striking capabilities of these knives. We'll start with the Mora actually, because this is the king of fire striking with the grind they have on the back here. I'm sure that came up on camera, but nice spark throw. This is a new ferrocerium rod, so probably picking up some paint as I go. It may actually be holding it back. This thing really throws sparks. Camillus wasn't throwing them. After I ground the back down, check this out. Maybe not as good as the Mora, but close and more than sufficient for what I need. A lot of times one strike against a couple cotton balls or one cotton ball just kind of torn up and I have my fire going. Now let's try the coast, the back of the coast. Not very good. Gerber. Alright, so one other thing I just want to call attention to where I'm finding different things I can do when I'm going on my hikes as far as eating goes. I started out taking in these Wise Food meals with me because I had them. It was in a pack that my brother had given me. But I haven't really been happy with their portion sizes. They give you 4 portions at once. You got to kind of guess when you're cooking how much to pour out. And the flavor has been okay. Some of them were tasty, some of them not so much. So I started looking for alternatives. Stuff like this squeeze pouch tuna. These are nice to take. Another option is these Knorr meals. They say you can put a little oil in them, optional if you want. I just do water and they're tasting really good. Today I went out and did the chicken and rice with rice and pasta blend chicken flavor. But it was good and it cooked real quick and it was a tasty little meal and didn't cost hardly nothing for dinner tonight. So it's just another alternative for you if you're thinking of getting into hiking like I am and getting out there and doing a little backpacking. Anything with camping and backpacking kind of carries over into survival and EDC or everyday carry. An everyday carry meal in your bag might be something like this. It shouldn't go bad if you store it in the trunk of your car in your bag. I'm guessing you've probably got the year lifespan on that. It's just dried goods inside there. I can't see the heat impacting it that much, but I'm actually going to try that out in my car this summer. This bag's going to go in the trunk of my car, and I'll have some dried food like this in there that I just have to hydrate and cook. Alright, well I don't like long videos, so I want to wrap this up. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.